Hi, welcome back to Project X-Wing Part 4. Here I'm just fitting the isolation strips to the temperature sensors, or the last temperature sensor. I'm just cutting it so that it's not flapping all over the place. And I'm going to bolt this to the copper strip and then screw that to the last heatsink that doesn't have one. And making sure that the copper doesn't short out the pins on the back of the sensor, or it would fry my Arduino. And every sort of part of copper here is earthed. You can see the earth wires going onto the sort of fan and the temperature sensor screw there, so it's got a good earth. I've checked the earths as well back so that I know everything's earthed. I'll speed this piece up because it's just me banging about with a soldering iron, clanking around. The main supply on this, I've put it on a 1 amp fuse at the moment, which I may reduce to 500 milliamps. I'm going to just see how that goes, but I've got it down on 1 amp at the moment. These are the fans spinning here, so we'll see. I'll cut back to the original audio. So, I'll glue this down tomorrow. I might just quickly put some power on this, not with a cable I'm going to use, but we'll just fire the lights up. This is me wired up the mains lights now, so they're actually on. You're getting flicker off these mains LEDs when you get close to them with the iPhone. As you come further away, that disappears, and you can't see that with the naked eye. And it doesn't seem to affect us when we play pool either. And this is the model with the lights on. As you can see, it's bleeding through quite badly. That's not something we wanted, so we're going to have to either infill around the lights to stop the light coming inside, or we're going to have to paint the inside of the model. So as you can tell, we've now gone with painting the inside of the model because we need the airflow around the lights. This is it viewed from above, and you know the model itself is dark. This is a GU10 light in my house, probably one of the only LED one actually. It's an LED GU10. It's on a dimmer and it's dimmable, so I'm guessing it's not got the flicker that it probably would have if it was just a straight GU10, but it still flickers. So the only way not to flicker would be going down the road of using LED drivers, which I could have done. I was in Maplins and they were shutting down and they were selling them for like, you know, £1 or something like that, and I literally could have bought a trolley load of them for like a £5, but foolishly I didn't, and I know I wish I had. But there you go, we are where we are. We're using mains, and that's it. It's been on for well over an hour now. It's still not dark in here. I've shut the curtains so it's darker. The temperatures, it's running at like 67, you know, basically 70 degrees, which is, you know, quite hot. The bleed through off of these is just where they're single wall and the light's coming up, but remember I'm going to fill this all in, aren't I, and shape this and paint. You know, I don't want to paint it, I want to shape it with something. We're going to mould that and fill it with black plastic, but the rest of the model, there's nothing bleeding, no light bleeding through it at all, which is quite really good. I'm well pleased with that. And this underneath is, you know, again you're getting the flicker off it, but there's not hardly any bleed through, and what there is you're not going to look at that because you won't get to see for half an hour afterwards, so that's not going to be a problem. And it's going to be down on the pool table. The actual thing I've put this in, it's going to hang up on these wires from the ceiling, so it's going to be suspended by like four wires, so we can change the pitch angle and nose down, nose up, so we can have it how we want it to be, so it looks good in the pool room. You know, my son seemed to think it was going to go in this frame. No, it's not. It's going to go on the wires straight down. We're going to put the wires probably through the front here somewhere. There's going to be two in the when the wings go sort of back on. We're going to put one sort of probably near the root here, so that it's got some support rather than putting it out here and it'll end up bending or something. And then one's going to have to go in here somewhere. I think I'm not overly worried about the heat. It's a bit more than I would have wanted, if I'm honest. It's, you know, you can put your hand on it and you wouldn't want to take, you know, you don't have to take your hand off quick, but it's hot. And the model doesn't seem to be going soft or like deforming, but year in, year out, I don't know how that's going to go. So Dean will watch this video as well and we'll have a chat about it. And I'm thinking we either put a fan in the top here and let the air just, because the air will want to come out anyway if we put it so that the fan blows up, you know, have to go that way round, or put one in the tail here like I said the other day, and we've just drill loads of holes in here so that, and we put a fan, because there is actually a groove. I'm not videoing it there, look, they put loads of holes in here and there's a groove in the back that's about 10-12 mil thick, so we can get a fan in there and blow the hot air straight out the back. That's another thing, and I reckon that will drop those temperatures down to somewhere like 40, which will be much more manageable. I think it would be much better doing that. But drilling holes in this isn't really my call because it's not my model. So I've done all the electronics, but when it's hole cutting time, I seek advice from the guy who owns it. There is some slight bleed through. See, like on, I don't know where it's going to pick it up, there's some sort of like bleed through here, and it's like gone right through. So this will be where there's a support inside, but I painted all of that, so I'm not quite sure where it's getting that bit from. It's not mega noticeable. I might do another little bit later on when it's dark, because there's like a patch there where it's coming through. The other thing is I'll just give it all another coat inside. That might be the other answer, is give it 2 coats. It's probably a bit optimistic hoping 1 coat would do it, but we shall see. And that's it really, so we'll give it a go. I think if there's another video on what we're doing here, it's going to be either fitting secondary cooling, i.e. blowing it out the back, or blowing the hot air out the top, one of those 2 things, or putting holes somewhere that you can't see. Again, we were talking the other day about putting holes somewhere around the nose here so the air was drawn in at the front underneath somewhere so you don't see it, and exhausted out the back. That's another option. So we're pulling air right through the whole model, right across all the heat sinks inside, if you see what I mean. That is another option that we talked about. And then I'm guessing the next bit, once we've done that, will be maybe a little bit testing that, and then we'll go and hang this up on the cables, because we're going to drill the holes, so that again, if we drill the holes in the wing and we don't like how it mounts or something, we can adjust that for the second model so that any mistakes made on this one we don't repeat. That was the plan. And I'm also going to tack some on the end of this video, showing you the second model electronics, how far on it's got. I'm not powering it up because at the moment I'm like writing software for it and it's not properly loaded, and it's just to give you a flavour of what's to come really. Short bit here of the second model I speak about. I've been doing this for over a year and a half. This is the main board, and that's the Elegoo 2560 that controls the bus master. It talks to the slaves here, which is the 2 nanos. One does the exhaust and one does the intakes. There's the relay board there that controls the lights, the actual pool lights, the ones in the model that we're now struggling with heat and so on. This is a temperature sensor that's going to go up in the ceiling, so that I know how hot all this lot is up here as well. It all started life on a breadboard and has grown. That's the Nextion Display just off camera there. There's 3.5 inch touchscreen that. There's an LDR so that I can adjust the lights on the actual model to its surroundings, so it's aware of how bright the light is in the pool hut. As I said, on this board here, I've colour coded everything as much as I can. All the plugs, I've like just sharpied them in so they're all colours, and I've labelled them. That's the main board that's going to go in the model. That's the air intake there with the LEDs. There's, I think it's 6 in each set. As I say, it's all been colour coded. All the plugs are a KK 2.54. It's just going to cost a fortune to polarise them all with different manufacturers and different plug styles and stuff, so that I haven't done that. As you can see, I'm going to need some sort of record as to how all this goes, and writing this down in a manual sort of thing is going to be pages and pages and pages of it, because along with the software as well that goes with this, it's going to be quite a complex project, as you can see. But I'm a lot further through it than the other video leads you to believe. But I wanted to document it from the beginning, and we haven't, for some reason, we've left the pool lights to the last, thinking they'd be simple, but they're just not. The heat's the issue. But I hope that this has give you some inspiration to continue watching the rest of the videos that I'm going to plan to do on all of this, because I will break down exactly how all this lot connects and how I got to where I got to with it, because it was a lot of twists and turns. But subscribe if you like these, and thanks very much for watching.